checkmate, chessboard, square, chess piece, rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, pawn, horizontally, diagonally, capture, chess. The object of the game is to checkmate the other king. Checkmate happens when the king is in a position to be captured, in check, and cannot escape from capture. At the beginning of the game, the chessboard is laid out so that each player is sitting across from the other and has the white or lighter colored square in the bottom right-hand side. The chess pieces are then arranged the same way each time. The second row is filled with pawns. The first row should be set up as follows, going left to right. Rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, bishop, knight, rook. You've set it up correctly if your queen is on the same colored square as the color of the piece. White queen, white square. Black queen, black square. The player with the white pieces always moves first. One turn consists of moving one piece one time. Players alternate turns until the end of the game. Spaces may not be shared by pieces. Pieces cannot move through or over any other piece. Opponent's pieces can be captured by correctly moving your piece to the square of an opponent's piece. When a piece is captured, it is eliminated and removed from the board. Each of the 6 different kinds of pieces has a unique way of moving. Move one square forward towards your opponent's side of the board. Unless it is the first time it is moved during the game, in which case it may be moved up to 2 squares forward. Pawns only capture pieces one diagonal square in front of them. And cannot capture pieces directly in front of them, but is instead unable to move forward. If a pawn reaches the other side of the board, it can be changed into any other type of piece. This is called a promotion. Rooks can move any number of squares side to side. And back and forth. Rooks cannot move diagonally. rooks cannot jump pieces, but instead capture the first enemy piece they move into. Again, another demonstration. Another demonstration. Knights move in an L shape, moving 2 squares in one direction, except diagonal, then 1 more square at a 90-degree angle. A completed move would look like this. Or 2 squares, 1 more at a 90-degree angle. The knight jumps over any pieces in the way, capturing any opponent piece in its final move position. Demonstration: 2 spaces and a 90-degree angle, 1 space movement. Bishops can move any number of squares diagonally. They capture the first enemy piece they move into. The queen can move any number of squares in any direction. This represents a completed move. Another demonstration. This represents a completed move. The queen captures the first enemy piece she moves into, whether it be horizontally or diagonally. The king can only move 1 square at a time in any direction. This represents a completed move, as do the following. The king may never move himself into a check position. Whenever a move directly results in the opponent's king being threatened, the attacking player must say check. Check. The opponent must then use their turn to protect the king, either by moving the king out of check, moving a different piece to block the path of the attacker, or by capturing the piece that threatens the king. If a move directly results in the opponent's king being threatened, and there is no move to protect the king, the attacking player declares checkmate. The game is over and he wins. A draw or stalemate occurs when the king is not in check and the player cannot legally move any of his pieces, or there is any other situation where there is an impossibility of checkmate.
There are a couple other types of unique moves. The first is castling. On a player's turn, he may move his king 2 spaces either to the left or right, and move the rook right next to the king on the other side. Or the king may move 2 spaces to the right, and move the rook right next to the king on the other side. However, in order to castle, the following conditions must be met. It must be that king's very first move. It must be that rook's very first move. There cannot be any pieces between the king and rook, and the king may not be in check or pass through check. Castling is a good move for beginners of chess because it puts your king in a defensive place and it brings your rook into play. The second is called en passant. If a pawn moves out 2 squares on its first move, and by doing so lands to the side of an opponent's pawn, effectively jumping past the other pawn's ability to capture it, that other pawn has the option of capturing the first pawn as it passes by, but must do so the very next turn, otherwise it loses the opportunity. To capture it, the pawn must move diagonally to the square directly behind the other pawn.